What's going on, beautiful people? This is Evan. I hope y'all are doing well. I'm making a video today to discuss some things that I have the utmost faith that will reach the people that it is meant to reach at just the right time. And remember that you are a beautiful and divine expression of the Almighty One. So cheers and skål as I finish off the rest of this daily red wine. So, this is a video as a testament to my, what is the word? I am disciplining myself to not delete old videos of myself. And I have a video on this channel called Johnny is Getting Sober. And guess what? I haven't gotten sober since then. And I'm not doing that for anybody else. If I am going to do that, I'm doing it for myself. And for whatever reason that is, that's for me and not for anybody else. There's a reason why people start to drink. It's not, maybe it could start from a place of trying to fit in to a certain type of a thing for probably a lot of people, but for some other people, it's more so a bit of an escape or a bit of a medicinal or a numbing anesthetic. And that's really what alcohol is. I think the best definition for it is it's an anesthetic. It helps to numb pain, but it also can be a bit of a truth teller in its own weird way. So I'm not worried about disappointing anybody, to be totally honest, with anything at all in my life whatsoever. Or even myself, because I'm at a point where it's becoming more and more difficult to even disappoint myself. Disappoint myself? Why would why would I do that? To disappoint myself from myself. Why would I do that? I mean, I can see why. I've done it before. But the reality is that I'm doing what I want and having the faith that what I have done and what I am continuing to do is exactly where I need to be right now, without having to put any sorts of extra efforts towards something because I need to do something. I'm doing what comes naturally to me, more so instinctually, maybe intuitively, whatever words fit that context or that definition, whatever, defining words, whatever. I think that in a lot of my life, I have become very caught up with trying to please others on either a very small, let's say, or small form, or in a large form, in a grander perspective, to try to please others. And I am a first-hand testimonial of the fact that if you embark to try to please others, if that's like one of your goals is to make sure that everybody feels comfortable around you, you are doing yourself and everybody else a disservice. You're not supposed to make everybody feel comfortable. We actually came here to trigger the fuck out of each other. It doesn't mean that we're all supposed to be like against each other. That's not what I'm saying. When you become an authentic expression of yourself in whatever way and whatever level that is, you will attract the people that are meant to be in your life, in your field, that are on a similar wavelength, and the ones that were in your life will be repelled by you in a very particular specific kind of a way, depending on where you're at in life. And it's not to say that you resent them or you hate them or any of this stuff. That's not what I'm saying. This is an energetic frequency. Becoming authentic in any type of a way in a world like this, where everything is based off of inauthenticity, really 99.99% of everything in this world, the constructs that are in this world, are based off of inauthenticity. And the very rare few that discover true authenticity will naturally repel and find themselves in situations that with people or beings that they used to be close to, and that there will be a conflict, and it's more often the other people that are finding themselves conflicted by you because, oh, you changed, oh, oh, why are you not the same anymore? I don't know when y'all didn't get the memo, even from like like children's movies or whatever, Disney movies, that change is inevitable. Even in those movies, that message was there, that change is inevitable. And whether or not you stay the same in this life and in other lives and keep reincarnating and doing the same thing and repeating the same cycle over and over and over again, some of us are sick of it. Some of us have done it way too many times and are sick of it. Or some only needed one incarnation. Some, and I'm not saying that I am that. Absolutely not. I am not saying that. If I know anything, I've definitely been here multiple times because I have a very old soul kind of a energy, and I've even been told that by people that I didn't even know very well. I've been here. I've been around the block, let's say. I've been male, I've been female, I've been this, I've been that, and a lot of y'all probably have too. And there's no like, there's no judgment there, you know, solidifying. I'd almost want to akin judgment to solidifying. Judgment and discernment are kind of, they go hand in hand, but I feel like discernment is a better word versus judgment. And judgment, I feel like the way that we often use it is kind of like solidifying something, calcifying. Do not calcify. Do not judge, do not calcify. Discerning, I think, is different because even in English, while these words may be synonymous, a lot of the translations of the original languages of these words that were translated from the original language have multiple meanings. So, take that with a grain of salt, with real salt, real sea salt, if you know what I'm saying. They didn't say, whoever they were, they never said it would be easy. Sleazy, easy, breezy, you know? But it can be. It actually can be. It actually can be easier. Like a lot of people say, like, oh, life is hard, life is this, life is that. It's like, yeah. But it's as much meaning to that word as you give it as much of what you experience of that. And it's always, I truly, fully, fucking wholeheartedly believe this, it's always the thought and the initial steps that are the hardest. Think of a baby just starting to walk. All of us that came into this world were babies that didn't know how to walk, but we learned how to walk somehow. And we all walk differently, just a little bit slightly differently. Some of us may be a little bit bow-legged. Some of us may have a certain kind of a swagger about us. Maybe we picked that up, from an external source somewhere. But we all walk differently. Swagger, We all, I'm totally going off on a tangent here, but I'm just letting it flow. Kind of like Dust in the Wind, It's a great song, by the way. Great song. It's a good reminder that this physical form that we inhabit is temporary. Whether we live 50, 100, 1,000, or more years. And I believe that anybody could live as long as they believe. I also think that it's, anyway. All of that remains potentially true. It's just a lot of it. No, I won't even get into that either. Really don't want to get into that particular part. Y'all who know, you know. And if you know, you know. If you know, It's all frequency. If you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency. Frequency. Frequency could be synonymous with consistency. If you're consistent with something over a period of time, it will bear the fruits of whatever you are consistent with. And if you choose to let go of that particular thing, actively choosing to let go of it, it won't exit your life immediately. Think of like if you had been addicted or, let's say addicted to pornography for more than half of your life. I'm using a personal example and from a vulnerable state because I have been ever since I was like 9 or 10 years old when I discovered it online. So if I really think about it, which I don't like to, but I will, a third of my life I have been addicted to online pornography, and it's been a part of my life in various forms. And that doesn't really matter necessarily what exact forms it is, unless it matters to you. The more you let it matter, the more it actually matters. Read between the lines. It doesn't make you a bad person for being addicted to online pornography. It absolutely does not. It doesn't mean that if you go for a certain length of time not partaking in that and then you go back to it for whatever reason, that means that you failed. No, that's just the body's intelligent design, the nervous system and the subconscious mind intelligent design, doing exactly what it is actually supposed to do. And the subconscious mind is so strong; it picks up on everything, even things that it's called subconscious for a reason. The conscious mind doesn't pick up on what the subconscious mind does, because the subconscious is beneath in this explanation. It's beneath the conscious. It's deeper, I will say. It's deeper. Think of the ocean, the submarine. Like a submarine is below the water. That's why they call it a submarine. Marine, I believe, meaning water. Or of the water. Under of the water. Whatever. I don't need to get into exacts. I just like to kind of like do wordplay every now and then because I seem to be naturally decent at it. The more I clean out my body and the more I truly detoxify my body with daily coffee enemas and deep cellular detox, taking Go-To Cola to help me actually learn what I'm putting my mind towards. Go-To Cola is so powerful. The leaves of the Go-To Cola actually look like the cerebrum of the brain stem, like the cerebrum of the brain or whatever. That's why I'm a full-hearted believer in vegetarianism and veganism. Like if you live in a place where you can be fully vegan, that hasn't been touched by the meddling hands of, I won't say men, but I will say the darkness that inhabits the husks of once were men, then you can be completely vegan and be healthier and stronger and more vital and live longer, many hundreds, if not thousands of years longer than those who are in what we call society, which is really not society. It's really just it's a glorified prison. Society is a glorified prison. And these are all just speculative terms and speculative ideas. I'm not claiming to know anything. This is all a part of my sci-fi fictional novel that I'm writing. But regardless of that, we will pretend like what I am saying is actually authentically what I am saying to be true from what I know to be true. And knowing all of that is great. But what you actually do with that is another thing. That's just 50% of it, really. Or a certain fraction of a percentage of 100, which would be the all-encompassing. And I'm not putting any labels, any judgments on myself or anybody else for what they do or do not know, or what they do or do not apply, or what they're able to at the very current moment as of right now, because right now, yes, it matters, but the causal plane is where things really matter right now. Always. Always have, always will. The causal plane, the fourth dimension. We live as in the 3D dimension. We're existing in D1 right now, this physical form. If y'all are interested in learning more about like the different dimensions of existence, I would recommend looking into Samuel B. Lee's videos. I found him through Aaron Abke. He had a couple of talks with him. Aaron had a couple of talks on his podcast with Samuel B. Lee. And when I first discovered him, a lot of the shit went straight over my head. But something in me was like, in my heart, I was like, man, there's something that this guy is talking about that really resonates with my soul. And it seems probably for a lot of people overly complicated, but it might just be my gigantic forehead that's able to um, disseminate a lot of this information. And hey, they call me Megamind. Shh, be careful, I might send a laser your way. Anyway. No, that's not really that's a joke, but it's really not, because if I do have some kind of an ability like that, I would like to use it for a positive use. And I really do think that people with larger craniums, they do have a certain accelerated, not really accelerated, but a certain kind of a ability, or a certain kind of a gift that they've been given for an expanded level of like a frontal cortex, you know. And I think that that has to do with your rational mind. I'm not totally sure. I could be totally wrong on that. I don't research really anything as far as that goes. So all I know is that I got a big gigantic forehead and I can remember what happened tomorrow. So I can remember what happened tomorrow, y'all. Man, your forehead's so big, I bet you can remember what happened tomorrow. God bless it. I've seen some of the thumbnails on my videos. I swear to God, I look like fucking ET phone home. Just the. I love it though. I've learned to embrace it. I think I would look really scary though if I completely shaved my head. And I've thought about it actually. I have thought about completely shaving my hair off, but I'm at a point now where I'm like, no, I just want to I want to really take care of my hair where it's at. You know, I don't go to get it trimmed or anything like that, and I think that there is the reality that um the very practical reality that if you have long hair and you regularly get the ends of your hair trimmed and get it like sort of like thinned out to some degree, that it helps the hairs to grow. Because if the hair is split too far to the root, it can cause hair fall. But at the same time, I think if you feed your scalp and your actual hair like something like castor oil, even if you have really oily hair, something that can combat that is apple cider vinegar, diluted solution of apple cider vinegar. I've also heard that cayenne pepper used with oils in your hair can help to stimulate hair growth and hair follicle growth. And magnesium oil used in a bit more of a smaller dose, because uh, a lot of times if you use magnesium oil in your hair or even on your skin, sometimes it can cause hair fall. Like if you have a lot of hair in a certain area, like let's say your hair, if you have a lot of hair and you start using magnesium oil in it, it can cause hair fall of hair that at the root it's dead, but that can stimulate new hair follicles to grow. So you can have hair fall from using the magnesium oil, but then after using the magnesium oil for enough of a sustained amount of time, can actually help for new hairs to grow and more higher quality hairs to grow. And I have noticed that using a mixture of castor oil, lavender oil, and magnesium oil, not every single day, but when the situation calls for it, I just do it instinctually, intuitively. Sometimes I'll tie my hair back like what I do now with a lot of that stuff in there, just so that everything like really um, sort of saturates into the scalp. And sometimes I'll do my best to wash it all out just with water or something like that. Use some apple cider vinegar to get rid of the extra oils and stuff, and use a wide toothed comb to just get some of the excess oil out, because we shed so much skin throughout the day, so much skin, and also hairs. So it's no surprise that if you embark on something like doing like a lot of magnesium oil, even on your skin, or using castor oil, like castor oil will just really thicken the existing hairs, which is awesome, and also help for new hair growth. So like the synergy of castor oil, magnesium oil, and lavender oil is really good. And lavender oil is great for killing bacteria, as well as castor oil is great for killing bacteria. And I also use castor oil for oil pulling, like swishing in your mouth. Um, and it really depends. Like if you do it for like 20 minutes, it really, really, really depends on how conscious you are aware of the time that you're swishing. Because sometimes I'll do 20 minutes and I don't find that my mouth fills up nearly as much with like saliva while I'm doing it. Like I'll, like that. Once you filled up like that and you're doing oil pulling, that's how you know you did a really fucking good job, because everything's liquefying. The salivary glands are like working overtime basically, and you're pulling toxic material out of your blood straight through your gums, because your gums are directly connected to your bloodstream. So the condition of your teeth is incredibly important for the condition of the rest of your body. The condition of your mouth will reflect the rest of your body on a very large level. Of course, there are other different types of things, like if you take like antibiotics, you know, from the beast system, and try to kill some type of an infection just because you're experiencing some level of and I get it, it can be life threatening. So if you're at a place where you've taken antibiotics for most of your life, and you're at a place where you do get sick with something and it could be life threatening, if you feel like you have to take the antibiotics, do it. But then instantly after that regimen of antibiotics, start eating fermented foods. Ideally, something that would be locally grown in your area. But the best thing that you could do if you can't do that is to just start eating true fermented foods from the cold section, something that needs to be refrigerated, not something that's on the shelf. Because if it can sit on a shelf in a jar, that means that it's been pasteurized already. It means that it's been cooked, and there is a very, very, very small amount of probiotic activity going on in that, versus something that needs to be refrigerated. And those things can be refrigerated for months, if not a year. The A lot of times I won't go into that, but you want to look for fermented foods that are in the cold section, that come from a good source, organic, non-GMO. Sauerkraut. There's the like cucumbers, like probiotic pickles. You can do that too. Any fermented foods, and also some type of a probiotic and prebiotic supplement that's a really good reviewed supplement, like that. And there are also plant foods that have prebiotics in them that create probiotics, like lentils, beans, a lot of those types of foods. You can look into that yourself for sure, but it's really important. I'm going to take a very quick bathroom break, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in for this long. I will be right back. All right. Thank you all for being patient. I appreciate that big time. Really, really do. I don't mean to do stuff like that, but I'm living as a human right now, so doing the best I can with what I have, you know what I'm saying? God bless it. I don't know what it is, but like a few days ago, if not more, I got just a huge craving to buy some cigarettes. And I don't even think it's the cigarettes, it's tobacco, like to smoke something, like legit smoke something. And I really don't have anything in my bank account whatsoever. I actually used the last of what I had to buy this bottle of wine, which is very cheap actually, for being an excuse me, being an organic and sulfite free wine. This is a very affordable wine, and that's what I chose to use it for. I mean, I don't know what else I honestly would have used the money for. To be honest, I could have used it for probably something else, but that's what I chose to use this for now. And I have everything I need. I really do. Probably even more than what I think I do right now. I've learned to use what I have very wisely, which is a big spiritual principle, I believe. You don't you don't need to combine every food on planet Earth on a plate and think that you're getting all of the nutrients and minerals and vitamins that you need. You're actually going to be doing yourself a great disservice by doing that. There are a lot of Ayurvedic food combination wisdoms that I have gleaned, like even something as simple as like brown rice with ghee. Very simple, very practical, high carbohydrate meal. And y'all, like we need carbohydrates. Ketogenic could potentially be used in a short term sense for some people, but it's not meant to be long term. And I don't eat meat. And I think that you could technically do a ketogenic diet just using eggs. I think you could. And I think somebody would be much better off actually just eating eggs rather than eating meat. And then I could get into the consciousness aspect of the certain animals that people are eating, like say like fish or something like that. And like, I think one would be better off eating fish rather than eating uh, mammal protein, like mammal meat, like the meat of the actual animal. If you were to choose the pescatarian path, that would be better. But I also don't think that it's like ideal for consciousness because fish are still conscious and have nervous systems and brains that register pain and suffering on a certain level. And does that really make their suffering any less? You know, that's a question that I think about quite a bit. And then you also think all the way down to like the ant level or the bug level, right? I think that this is all a spectrum, and you got to think about it like this too. Humanity has been on this planet for millions of years, not just hundreds of thousands, millions, billions, a few billion years. The descending into where we are at now has been going on for billions of years. Humanity was seated here around 5 billion years ago, roughly. I don't have an exact measurement that I can give you, but if you really look into this, you'll find what you're looking for if you truly seek. Seek and ye shall find. Original celestial human beings used to live for many thousands of years. And that's really what it takes for a soul who is incarnated in a body like this on a lower dimensional plane. Not better or worse. This is God getting to know itself. This is what we are here for. And we find ourselves now at a point. And there have been points in the past, like we're in Egypt 6,000 years ago. The average lifespan was like 35 years. Or maybe 10,000. I can't remember exactly how many thousands of years ago it was. But humanity has been here for a very, 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 very long time. That's all I know. And it's no question to me why we have all of these questions, all of these different kinds of beliefs that come with the human experience that we can't really even explain. Some of it that we learned externally, and some of it that we just know intuitively, instinctually, in our hearts, in our DNA. And hey, I want to remind y'all this too. I made one video so far, but here, right here, your thymus gland, right here, that's your direct connection to source. And if you ever feel really lost and really stuck, just breathe into that intersection point. That's like the intersection point right there. Thy rod or thy rod, whichever way it goes. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. That's the cross. That's what they made into a religious icon image. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. That's what they made Yeshua out to be. Yeshua did not come here to become a sacrifice for his Father in heaven. He chose to do what he did for the liberation of all sentient beings, not just people. If Yeshua came here just to do it for people and think that, oh yeah, you can slit the throats of animals, you know, you can burn the flesh of animals at the altar and let God smell the wonderful savor, you know, the sweet savor of burning flesh. Have y'all ever heard of Bohemian Grove, y'all? In my fictional sci-fi novel that I'm writing about? None of this is real, by the way, from what I'm saying here. Have y'all ever heard of that? Where they burn, uh, where they burn things there, sacrifice things there? Have y'all ever heard of that? Man, I don't know. Y'all might. I mean, I thought I was living under a rock. I think I started to live under a rock ever since I was like fucking 14 years old. Trying to get my parents to move out of this place because I was straight up like, we need to get out of here. But, you know, they convinced themselves and convinced me that, nah, there's just nothing we can do about it, you know? I'm like, I'm not trying to blame anybody. This is just a real life scenario that I experienced. In my sci-fi fictional novel that I am writing. Pun intended. But let's let's uh let's talk about this too, because if y'all have made it this far into this video, thank you. And that means that you're a real one, and I appreciate the fact that you're still listening. So let's talk about this too. Do you think that you chose to come into this world knowing everything that came with it? All of the potential pitfalls, all of the potential opportunities, all of the potential possibilities? I believe abso-fucking-lutely we all did. Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely, lad. No fucking doubt about that. You know what I'm saying? And to say that with joy is beautiful. It really is. Because it's so true. No matter what situation you find yourself in, or whether you think you failed at something, or whether from the outside it looks like all your life is falling apart. Yeshua said, I don't even need to say it. Y'all know it. I don't even need to say it. The one who exemplified what it really truly means. What it really truly means. Without even saying it. Without really even saying it. I don't need to. I don't need to say it. I don't feel obligated to explain it. So going back to choosing to come into this world, we chose from a higher place to obligate, to agree to the rules of being in this world. We chose that. And once you realize that, it is a bit of a bitter pill to swallow. It's like, man, I really did agree to this. I agreed to not comply, but agree with the terms and conditions, sort of this, of living in this world. And what that means for everybody is totally different. But it's a very big difference knowing all of the terms and conditions. You read it all the way through versus just clicking I agree without reading it, like many of us have with certain things that we have clicked and agreed to without reading the fine print. Before we came into this world, we read the fine print. We knew it. We knew everything before coming into this world that we needed to know about it. And now it's the matter of literally coming from the ground up and realizing the things that we truly did agree to, and it was from a much vaster, grander reason. Even the ones who do some of the what we generally, a lot of us dub as horrible things, distasteful, abhorrent things. It was all agreed upon on a higher level. Everybody's playing their role. So to point your finger at somebody like they're doing the wrong thing, they're the bad ones, what you fight, you become. Don't fight it. Y'all, we have fought many wars in many different incarnations. The Orion Wars. Yeah, we fought there, but we ain't fighting no more. We ain't fighting no more, man. The Indigo Children. Any children that were born from, 50s up until now. You got wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. Now you got wave 4, which are, man, they're the ones who are like, fuck the system. We ain't even fucking complying. Fuck all this. The ones in the 50s, 60s, 70s, they were the trailblazers, man. They were like, fuck the system. They were the ones that couldn't be controlled. Same thing with wave 2, very similar. Then you got wave 3, 90s, 2000s. Y'all know if you know. Only if you really know, But once you think you know it all, you know nothing at all. So take it all with a grain of salt. And you can really know yourself that way. So hey, I was a late 90s baby. So I don't know if I consider myself wave 2 or wave 3. But I'm not going to put a specific label on that. But we came as volunteers. As willing volunteers and willing vessels to uplift the frequency of this collective consciousness that we exist in right now. Anything that we do, anything that we partake in, is either uplifting or the opposite. And no judgment, by the way. We didn't get a roadmap. We didn't get a manual. We came here to remember. You were created to remember. You were created to remember. We chose to forget everything. So don't be hard on yourself if you can help it. But man, these crystal children coming in right now, for lack of better terms, holy shit, man. I've gone most of my life thinking like it's not worth it to bring a child into this world. And hey, I am very much so against the births that take place in hospitals, in those places. But I cannot disregard anybody who comes from a noble place, who chooses to bring life into this world and just wants to live happy, wonderful lives, and that's all they know, or that's what they know, that's what they're doing. And if you're uninformed about something, that's okay. And if you're that's where I become very conflicted, and maybe that's why, I don't know. There's a lot of things that go with that. But if I were to bring a child into this world, I would want that child to have the greatest surroundings, the greatest bringing into this world that I could possibly give them, and it would definitely not be a hospital built by anyway. It's not to say, hey, I was born in a hospital too, and I was also a cesarean birth, and I'm not making myself a victim about that either. So that's not really even the point. But there is a certain level of trauma that comes with being born, especially if a female goes into labor, being with child, and is given a bunch of different drugs and different things like that to induce labor. Labor is something that should not be induced. It's something that ideally should happen naturally. And if people were more connected with who they really are, these things would happen naturally. And water births, like in uh like a type of a pool type of a thing. I've heard so many, when I was looking into it, I looked into that being like the best way to birth a child for the mother and for everybody involved, for the child as well. Because when a child is born like a breech birth into water, they don't breathe right away. Like when they're born, they have like things in their nose to block them from the water and all of this stuff. It almost seems like that's the way that it always should have been. And the mother doesn't actually go through the pain that an induced labor causes. Because when you take drugs to induce a labor, it causes an incredible amount of pain, unnecessary amount of pain for the mother. And I wouldn't want that for somebody that I am having a child with. I wouldn't want that. Thank God I'm aware of this. And that says a lot about where not just I, but all of humanity can come to this reality that birth birthing a child into this world from a female's perspective can actually be such a healing and psychedelic experience. And connecting with the soul of that child when they actually come into this world. And hey, the soul of that child coming into this world, when a mother and the father are truly connected and they are very sure, the soul of that child comes into that fetus, that physical fetus, much sooner. And love is a free will choice. That soul can choose to leave if that scenario is not safe for that soul. That's why miscarriages happen. So if y'all have ever had a miscarriage, if you're a female and if you've ever had a miscarriage before, you did not fail. You did not fail. Y'all did not fail. It just was a vibrational mismatch. Every child that comes into this world through the womb, man, that's why I named my most recent song Womb Man, because we are all man of the womb. We all come into this world through the womb. And also, males and females have a sacred womb. And it's in the same place. That's why both of us, males and females, are equal and opposite in the same way. But only one of us can truly bring life into this world. And that's why I honor the ones who bring us into this world with that song. That's just what came to mind for me for that song. Whatever comes to mind for me is like, okay, yep, I'll use that. Womb Man. Womb Man. And thank y'all for tuning into that, by the way. That's a song that I'm very excited about. And for that song, I don't know if y'all noticed, but the sound production of that song was much better because I learned how to remove clipping. And it's something that for most of my songs, when I would, I don't know if some of y'all are like sound people, like that are good with like sound production, but I generally always ignored clipping when I was rendering my tracks in Reaper, and I would see like all of this red happening, and I'd be like, ah, fuck, it's okay. I think it sounds kind of good anyway. But then I looked up, okay, how to remove clipping. And I was like, oh, okay. Get into the master mix and look into the clipping and see like a certain amount of decibels that it's the clipping is above, and then what was it, like double click the master track like where you can move it, and then just minus a certain amount of dBs. Then you can also use a compressor and an EQ. Like if you use like the compressor, and if like the dBs are too like the dBs are 2 decibels are too low, then you can increase the volume while keeping the compression. And there's a couple other different little things that I learned, but because I noticed that for the drums specifically, it was clipping, and also for the bass, because I was kind of like, ripping on the bass. So now for future projects, because sometimes for some of the projects that I was doing, like the music that I was doing, I would purposefully hit lighter on the bass and certain other parts just because I didn't want it to clip. But now that I know how to remove clipping, I can hit harder and still keep the same sound and the same resonance that I want to, but just remove the excess um, stuff that I don't want. So very simple. It was just one video. I was like, okay, I gotta look one of these videos up, how to remove clipping. This one guy, I looked at this and I was like, holy shit, yeah. Maybe it's the go-to cola. It's got to be the go-to cola, man. The go-to cola is helping me to learn things much faster, much more efficiently. I know that for a fact because I've never taken go-to cola for an extended period of time than I have within like the past few months, and I can guarantee without even knowing it, because science is much slower than spirituality. Even though they are the exact same thing, I don't need to prove anything to anybody. I can just be a living proof of it, and anybody can be. Gochu cola is so powerful, and it's tridoshic. It balances all 3 doshas in Ayurveda. So whether you're heavy kapha or heavy vata, heavy pitta, whatever, Gochu cola is great for anybody. It's one of the greatest adaptogenic herbs that exists. And tigers will roll in it if they get into a bad scuffle with another animal instinctually, because it heals collagen on the surface level of the skin as well as internally, and also improves your brain function and learning abilities. So I'm going to take one more quick bathroom break. I'll be right back, y'all. All right. Thank y'all for being patient. I appreciate that. Big time. I don't know if y'all can see. Y'all have probably noticed on my chest. All of this stuff has been coming out of my body ever since I started using the magnesium oil on my chest. This is prevention of atherosclerosis, from my observation. Not only, I believe, is calcium buildups coming out of my body, also bacteria, really nasty stuff. It's not been the most fun process, to be totally honest. I have also been using castor oil every other day, even though I know it's a heavy oil and that for people with oily skin, it may not be the best idea. But I also put my faith in the fact that what castor oil really does is that whether or not you have oily skin, it will pull shit that's not supposed to be there out of your skin. And it does have antibacterial, antifungal properties. And I also use it with lavender oil as well. Sometimes along with the magnesium oil if I just put it all over my body. But I swear to God, man, ever since I started putting like I would just multiple sprays all over my chest. And that first few days when I did it, like just disgusting amounts of shit were coming out of my chest. I was like, what the fuck, bro? And to be honest, I'm kind of a pimple popper. I kind of am. And I've heard that that's not really a good thing to do. But I can't fucking help it, dude. Like when I see a gigantic fucking thing like that, I gotta fucking get rid of it, dude. And I'm not looking for suggestions, bro. I'm not looking for suggestions. I'm just winging it. I'm winging it the best that I can with that. All I know is that whatever it's doing, it's purging shit out of my body, along with the high dose K2 that I'm taking too, because that does a really big thing with that too. I've been getting good sunlight, sunbathing. Some of these days I've been out on my bike just shirtless with shorts on. Some like out on the open road, open trail, just like full sun and everything, so that helps a lot. But oh, it's been brutal, that's for sure. It's a process. It's something that doesn't happen overnight. It can take a long time, and I know that, and that's okay. And also getting rid of my AC that's been in my house. All I have is the dehumidifier, and it's not even been on all day. I just have a fan in the window. And around like 4 to 5 a.m., I'll open up my front door so that the cold air from the night or from the morning just starts to flow in. And I'll have the fan directly on me in the bed because it's like, oh, it can be brutal sometimes. But at some point after the morning, I'll throw the fan into this little window that I got just so that we got natural wind flow in here and just open up the windows that I can. So no AC for probably a little over a week now. And I had this belief that if I had a pink Himalayan salt lamp on, that the AC wouldn't be an issue, or that it would like sort of transmute the positive ions in the air into negative ions. I still have the salt lamp on just because I like it, the pink Himalayan salt lamp that I have. I've had it for years. I've gone through so many light bulbs in that thing. But that AC was visibly growing mold inside of it, and that was one that my family had for years, and I was like, bro, I just can't. Every time I go in front of it, I just get this whiff of like must and mold. I was like, I can't do this anymore. So some days I just be like literally in a sauna all day. Even some days where I wouldn't even go outside, like the days when I was recording that song. I recently recorded, especially that room, just because it doesn't get that much airflow. I've just been dripping sweat. Just say fuck it. It's better to sweat than not. Because if you're not sweating, you're not getting anything out of your body really, unless you're doing coffee enemas every day, which I am. So there's that too. But you gotta sweat. You gotta sweat. Sweat is so important. You have to sweat and replenish with electrolytes. You have to, if you want to live an optimal life. So I think that's my video. This has been a pretty long video, one of the longer videos I've made, and I want to send my gratitude, love, strength, honor, and gratitude to each and every one of you who has tuned in all the way up until the end. And until next time, y'all, shred onwards and so forth, and stay strong. Warriors, you are worth it. You are loved.